Now that we've completed the setup of volume navigation and our patient has arrived, let's begin the study. With volume navigation already activated, my first step is going to be to load my data set. To do that, I'm going to select the load on the touch panel. I have two options now. I can either load via query retrieve, in which case it would already be on my system, and I select the from database selection, or I can load from disk, which would be from a CD or a USB. In that case, I would select the from disk selection. I've already loaded her onto the system here, so I'm going to select from database. Once I've done that now, I just need to double-click on the volume that represents the CT or MR that's been previously acquired, and it will be brought forward to our imaging screen. You'll see as it loads onto the system, it displays on the right-hand side. It'll give me the ability now to pan through this volume and decide if this represents the anatomy or the protocol that's going to best be needed for this procedure. What I can also do now is I can bring the arrow into the center of the image and select my Scroll Z button and push through and pull through to identify the anatomy of interest. Once I'm comfortable that this is the volume set that I want to use for my image fusion, I now can do the two steps required to bring the images together. The first is lock plane. I need to tell the system what particular plane the original CT or MR was acquired in, which is typically the axial plane. To do that, I'm just going to hold the transducer over the patient in that plane and select the lock plane button, which is the bottom trackball function. What the system will do at this point is correlate the scale sizes of both my previously acquired and my current ultrasound. So as we can see here now, the CT appears to have zoomed up. I can just reduce the scale to bring that back down so I still have the full overview. As I move the transducer, you also see now the CT will move along with me, but they're not necessarily fused together. In order to fuse now, I have one additional step I need to do, and that's to find one common anatomical reference point in my previously acquired data set and my live ultrasound. I typically will find it in the ultrasound first because I know I will not run into the same challenges on the CT or MR that I may have in ultrasound. Points that we tend to look for are bifurcations or something that we know we can find a specific point in both. Commonly in the abdomen, we may look for a portal bifurcation, maybe a branch off the IVC of the hepatic, or possibly even a specific lesion of interest. I'm going to bring the arrow over to my ultrasound image now, and I'm just going to have my patient hold her breath for a moment. And I'm going to bring it over and lock it right here in the corner of the portal. This image will now freeze. Now as I move my transducer, I can virtually scan through the CT to find that same area of interest. So I'm going to bring the arrow now over to the CT scan and just mark on that same spot with that lock point. Now my ultrasound is fused with my CT, and as I move one, you'll see the other will automatically follow. The system will automatically do a multiplanar reformat of my CT to match the same plane that my ultrasound is in. I can change orientation to sagittal, and you'll see here now, as you see in the kidney, it's sagittal in both perspectives. The graphic that we see on the right side, the green graphic, represents my transducer, so I know where I am at all times. I can change my orientation or scale size if I need to be able to zoom in or zoom out. By hitting the zoom button, it'll put them both in the same scale size so I can see the two together. This is just a review of the basic functionality of volume navigation and how you can use this in your clinical practice.